Hello everybody, it's Marla. Welcome back to Twinstrology. Today we are going to do a collective reading for twin flames for the month of August, including the Lionsgate. Before I get into the reading, I want to talk to you guys about fake accounts on Instagram. This has become very problematic for me. And first of all, I want you guys to know that I have no control over this, and the majority of the time, these people have me blocked. So there's no way that I can even find them if I try. But I need you to be very aware that I will never direct message you and ask you to buy a reading from me. I just don't do that. The only place to buy readings from me is my website. So if someone direct messages you and asks you to send them money for a reading, please question, because that is not me. You need to read the name very carefully. My name on Instagram is Twinstrology1111. And so when people make a fake account, they cannot use that exact name. So they have to make some subtle change. One I saw recently was Twinstrology111. I also saw Twinstrology1111 with two I's in the middle. So please just be careful and know that if someone direct messages you, it is not me. Please report them. Even if you report it to me, like, I appreciate that you report it to me and let me know so that I know that someone's doing that. But there's no way for me to even report them because, like I said, they have me blocked. So I'm really counting on you guys to watch, report them, and please don't answer if someone direct messages you. And if you're ever really concerned and want to be sure, you can always go to my website, twinstrology.com, and you can contact me by email through my website. And, you can always ask if that was really me talking to you. All right, guys, so thank you for that. Let's get into the reading. So I have two cards that came out this week, or this month, I should say, for the overall energy. The first card is, I'm trying to understand how my thoughts create my reality. I know I need to stay positive. Are you? So something that's going to be coming up this month is the fact that we need to focus on where our mind is going. Because where your mind goes is how you perceive your reality. Sometimes it's not easy to stay positive. Sometimes we need to clear things, so we understand about that. But I think we need to be careful, especially in the beginning of the month of August. Let's say between August 1st and August 11th, when we have that Aquarius full moon. We need to just be aware that the energy is very intense and there could be some emotional up and downs. And really try to not get stuck in a negative place, but kind of realize that the planets are activating us and do our best to work through, anything that comes up. The other card that came up was, I'm going through a dark night of the soul. Nothing is making sense in my life. So a very similar card here to this one. And ironically, they're both 8 for 8-8, the Lionsgate. Now, when this card comes up, I'm going through a dark night of the soul. It may not feel as extreme as a dark night of the soul, but I often read this as just like things aren't making sense to me. I don't know where I stand with things. There can also be sadness. In this image, this woman it's like she's standing in front of a window that's not clear, or maybe it's wet. So it's often like, I'm sad. I don't know what my next step is. I don't know what to do. So when we take these cards together, we can see that we might be in for some clearing happening, especially like I said in the beginning of August. Now, as we go into August, we have Chiron and Venus in a square, okay? And that often brings up sadness, feelings of abandonment. But we also have this T-square going on, which is very, very intense. And we're dealing with a lot of multidimensional energy, things that we haven't resolved from other lives and other timelines. And there's a lot of pressure to clear things out. You know, if you're wondering about any of the astrology, I posted a video on Lionsgate where I talk about all of this. But it seems like our guides here are kind of warning us that we might be facing some heavy energies, I'll say. Now remember too, like our vibration is going up at the Lion's Gate, and whenever we're getting activations and we're raising our frequency, that often does activate our shadow, or we could say our karma, to be cleared to make more way for the light. Now I did pull a song here as well for the overall energy for twins. And the song is Pardon Me by Incubus. It's going to be hard for me to read this without kind of going into the sing-song of the song, but I'll try because really nobody wants me to sing. Okay, the lyrics are, not 2 days ago, I was having a look in a book and I saw a picture of a guy fried up above his knees. I said, I can relate because lately I've been thinking of combustication has a welcomed vacation from the burdens of the planet Earth, like gravity, hypocrisy, and the perils of being in 3D, but thinking so much differently. So pardon me while I burst into flames. I've had enough of this world and its people's mindless games. So pardon me while I burn and rise above the flame. Pardon me, I'll never be the same. So with this song, you know, it's definitely telling us that there's frustration. Because a lot of this song is about like how heavy it can be on earth, not wanting to be on earth and like wanting to just burst into flames and come back from whence we came. So I feel like this song is also indicating that we're going to be under pressure. But I also feel like with some of the things he's talking about, right? Wanting to take a vacation from the burdens of planet Earth, like gravity, hypocrisy, and the perils of being in 3D. This is also like we have to rise above 3D at this time. So this is also like that rise in our vibration and kind of letting go of the 3D. And I think that was something that I talked about in my last reading as well. Like we have to kind of let go of the material world at this time, and with that, like some of the ego stuff that maybe we're dealing with or have been dealing with. So what's positive for twin flame unions is I need you to trust me and believe I'm working toward union with you. Well, there's a couple different things here. First of all, there's this message between the twins. This message of you need to have trust in your union right now. Again, this is part of letting go of the material world. And what I mean by that is we have to stop simply focusing on what is in front of us, what is what is our senses showing us? And the biggest part of ascension and what we're doing here is we're moving out of a world that's driven purely by senses, and we're moving into a world where we're of this higher vibration and we're using our intuition, we're aligned with our higher self, and we're expanding our knowledge. So part of this is, and this is a really strong message in this reading, is you've got to trust your twin flame journey right now. And no matter what is going on with your twin, don't let that psych you out and make you feel like your union is not coming. And this happens so frequently to people, is they get triggered by something and then they just think, oh, I have to move on. This isn't going to happen. And you have to realize that the twin flame journey is a long-term journey. It's not something that happens in 6 months or a year or 2 years or 3 years or whatever. It takes as long as it takes. But you have to trust in your process, or it's not going to work, because you are the creator and you are the manifester. And when something happens and you might get triggered, and then you're not staying positive, then you're falling out of, let's see, how can I say that? Sorry, I lost my place for a second on what I was talking about. The energy is certainly intense today. So, yeah, if you stop believing that your twin is working towards union with you, right? You're falling right into this. I'm the creator of my reality. What I believe is what shows up in my life. So if you think that, well, then that's what's going to happen. So the universe is wanting us to stay as positive as we can and not get pulled in. And I can tell you from talking to people that, yes, times are very intense, and especially for the divine masculine and the things that the divine masculine is going through. And it may appear that things are getting worse when they're really getting better. It's like you can't get psyched out by what is happening. You've got to create space around yourself and try to keep your vibration in a stable place. What challenges twin flame unions is, please contact me. I may not respond, but knowing you care opens my heart. So one of the big issues here the universe is telling us is you may not be in contact with your twin. For some of you, this might be something that's like long-term, not having contact. For some, you may be in contact, and then you may go through a span over, several weeks or maybe longer where you're not in contact, or you're not having as much contact with your twin as you normally would. And so your first reaction is going to be to start thinking negative, to start questioning, to get yourself worked up. Oh my gosh, what's going on? Has my twin abandoned me, etc. And they're saying, please just trust and believe that things are working in your favor regardless of what they look like at this moment in time. Now, for the divine masculine, perhaps this please contact me, I may not respond, I think is the divine masculine feeling regret, because in the majority of cases, it's the divine masculine that has broken off contact for whatever reason, or it's the divine masculine that's pulling away. Remember, this is for both twins, this sadness and this negativity. So they could be feeling regretful about breaking off communication. And they might want to tell you that they're trying to work towards union with you, but for whatever reason, everyone's case is different. They're probably not verbalizing that right now. Okay, so let's talk about the Divine Feminine and what the Divine Feminine is focused on in August. The first card has twin flames. We are here to ascend and help others to do the same. Okay, so for the feminine, the focus is really on the ascension process. Now, what I talked about in my last video for the feminine was that there was going to be a real increase in the feminine energy. And this was going to help raise our vibration. It's also helping to heal the masculine. So like we have all these hot air balloons. This is literally like, this energy is rising. Rising in frequency. So with that can come these activations, and the guides are saying reiterate to everybody that there's activations and upgrades happening, and there's likely to be a lot of solar activity in August, and the solar flares really help us clear stuff out of our DNA, but it can bring up this kind of challenging energy in the meantime as it's working on that. They're also saying that there's going to be a lot of multi-dimensional shifting and clearing around separation. So what we need to look at is the reasons why the separation happens. The majority of twins are in separation still at this point because we are still focused on the ascension. And a lot of that is because of subconscious energy that we're carrying that connects to alternate timelines that we have going where, we're separated for whatever reason, third parties, which often take the form of arranged marriages, for instance. But also like families, religions, different backgrounds, wars, all of these things have caused separation. There's a lot of like death and grief attached to this. So kind of like, you can call it forbidden love, or just why are we separated? Because a lot of the reasons why we're still separated is because we've got to clear and shift those timelines, and we're still working on that. So how this ascension energy is showing up for the Divine Feminine is, I need to move slowly with this, but trust that I'm moving even when it seems like I'm not. So when I first tune into this card, what I'm getting is a lot of it has to do with the masculine, right? And the projections that happen, because the feminine often thinks that it's the masculine that's moving slowly. And, going to what I said earlier about how the twin flame journey is literally a journey. It takes time. But a lot of people think that, well, this isn't happening quick enough, and they give up. They lose hope. They don't trust in the situation. And I think that that's going to be triggering the Divine Feminine in August the most. Is, remember, because the masculine's going through a lot. And you may be seeing what's going on with the masculine, and you may think, oh God, like, whatever is going on seems to be like you're moving backwards instead of forwards. But like I said, don't get caught up in that. You've got to trust that things are moving forward even when it seems like they're not. We've got to just let it take the amount of time that it takes and not lose hope. How this is transforming the feminine is, I feel abandoned. I often feel like others let me down. Okay, so while we know that one of the ways that this energy can be showing up for the feminine, and really for all of us, is feelings of abandonment and feeling like we're not supported. And a lot of that's going to be like feeling like your partner, your twin, is not supporting you. And that's why you feel abandoned, or you feel like my twin isn't showing up. Why have they let me down? Again, there's like this feeling of hopelessness or not feeling clear, feeling like maybe you're moving backwards instead of forwards. And I think we're really going to have to be strong in August to let these feelings of abandonment and separation move through us without falling down into a dark night of the soul. So what is the masculine healing at this time? Surrender brings us together faster than resistance. So for the masculine, the focus is on surrendering. This is really important. This is the letting go. This is trusting in the process. Trusting in your person. Letting go of the resistance to your person. You know, like we said earlier, a lot of the masculine are the ones that have cut off contact with their person. Why did they do that? Because they were in a state of resistance. They were afraid of the connection, or they were afraid the connection was too complicated for their life, or, you know, prior obligations. Really, it all goes back to the alternate realities where the separation is occurring, the grief, third parties, all of that stuff. But it's time now, because the feminine is rising so potently at this time, and the masculine and the feminine are working together more. So as the feminine goes up, the masculine's ready to surrender. As I said in my other video, when the feminine's wounded, the masculine has to step in. But the way the masculine often steps in is through having walls and guards up and being resistant to allowing things to unfold because of fear. But now that's shifting, and the masculine doesn't need to be so defensive, and they're trying to surrender more. How this is showing up for the masculine is I'm feeling controlled by people around me and I don't like it. It's pushing me to find my power again. So for the masculine, they're needing to take back their power. But again, what I'm getting is the way that the masculine has tried to do that up till this point is by being on the defensive and being very guarded and trying to control everything. And that doesn't work. And I think the divine masculine is seeing that that doesn't work. So they're trying to change things around, realizing like if I surrender, that's really where I'm going to find my power again. It's not in the resistance. And with this picture, like this is a karmic ties card. So like my first impression normally when I see this picture is like a third party. But here I'm feeling like this is the twins. And it's like the feminine has felt that abandonment, okay, because the masculine had not been able to find their power within the connection, but this shift is bringing back or bringing forward a better alignment of the connection in general. Because like when we run away or we ignore, then we're not being in our power. Because we're not being truthful, not being who we really are. So I feel like that's where a lot of this change is taking place. How this is transforming the masculine is I'm trying to figure out this connection. I've never experienced anything like it before. So the masculine is still awakening in some ways to the connection. And many of them are still trying to figure out what this connection is. But with this rise in the feminine energy and this rise in our vibration, things are becoming much clearer for the masculine. So what does the divine feminine want to say to the divine masculine? Our inner guidance is clear, but our ego is resisting it. So again, here's another card talking about resistance. And it's like that intuition. Our intuition is strong. Our intuition is giving us the information, but the resistance that we're experiencing is coming from our ego. Now this says draw another card to clarify what is being resisted. So let's just see for the heck of it, what is being resisted? Oh, too many cards. I'm afraid this relationship is too good to be true and I pull away in fear. So this is where the resistance is. Pulling away because really what it comes down to is not trusting. This relationship seems too good to be true, for instance. That's one way where we struggle with trust. Now the song that the divine feminine wants to give the masculine is Running Down a Dream by Tom Petty. It was a beautiful day, the sun beat down, I had the radio on, I was a-driving. Trees went by, me and Dell were singing, little runaway, I was flying. Yeah, running down a dream that never would come to me, working on a mystery, going wherever it leads, running down a dream. I rolled on, the sky grew dark, I put the pedal down to make some time. There's something good waiting down this road, I'm picking up whatever is mine. So one of the messages here is I'm running down a dream that never would come to me. This is the universe saying, or even we could say our intuition saying, you are getting closer to that dream. It feels like that dream is never going to come, but it's getting closer. Working on a mystery, going wherever it leads. This is part of the process because it's part of this intuition, you know, the whole journey. It is a mystery. It's not just a mystery for the masculine, it's a mystery for the feminine too. And you've just got to follow your intuition. You have to follow your heart. And your heart is going to lead you to that dream. There's something good waiting on this road, and I'm picking up whatever is mine. Whatever is meant for you is not going to miss you. What the masculine wants to say to the feminine is the planets are activating us to heal and bringing us closer together, surrender to the changes. So I feel like the masculine is confirming what I've said. Like the planets are activating us. I mean, yeah, the planets are extremely intense right now in their formation. And that's bringing us closer together. You've got to believe that. Surrender to the changes. The changes may not come how you expect them to. They may not happen that way. So for a lot of the masculine, they're still trying to free themselves from their karmic situations. And how they do that may not be what either of you expects to happen. You know, just expect surprises. Now the song the masculine wants to give to the feminine is Straight On by Heart. I think this song came up in July's reading, actually from the divine feminine to the divine masculine. Quite some time I've been sitting it out. Didn't take no chances, I was a prisoner of doubt. I knocked down the wailing wall, ain't no sin. Got the feel of fortune deal me in. Now I know I've got to play my hand. What the winner don't know, a gambler understands. My heart keeps playing it through with you, my friend. I'll take my chances on you again and again. Coming straight on for you. You made my mind. Now I'm stronger. Now I'm coming through. Straight on for you. So the masculine has been in a state of resistance, not wanting to communicate, or often if they are communicating, they're not always being honest. So this song, Straight On, I feel is saying that the masculine is in the process of shifting their resistance to surrender in a way that what is coming in the future is they're going to be more actively coming towards the feminine. Now, this is not something that I feel is going to happen necessarily in August. Everybody's at a different place in their unions, you know, but that said, I feel like October and November is going to be a more transformative time than August. But what I feel this song from the masculine is saying is, this is what I want to do. I want to come towards you. And so I've got to go through this process in order to come towards you and create a union with you. Now, I've used the question oracle this month too. So the question that's coming up for the feminine is, how will this person respond if I share my true feelings for them? So maybe this is something you're asking yourself. Maybe you feeling guided to share something with your twin. You know, this question coming up here is also telling me that the feminine hasn't done everything either, because on some level the feminine has not shared their true feelings for their twin. Now that's not going to be for everybody, and it may not necessarily be about sharing your feelings. It may be about being in your truth or really expressing how you feel. Maybe you hold back because you don't want to trigger your masculine. There can be a lot of different ways where we can interpret that card. But the answer of how this person will respond is reconciliation. Someone from your past is returning to your life, and true love. This is the romance of a lifetime. Now, I'm not necessarily saying that all the feminine should go and message their twin and say their true feelings, expecting that there's going to be an immediate reconciliation. But I feel more like the reconciliation is coming, and with that, it's going to be a time to really open up. So when your divine masculine makes contact with you again, or has the way they're interacting with you changes and opens up, you might need to open up in order to make that reconciliation. It's like helping that reconciliation along. What I'm getting is that the masculine, if they knew really what your true feelings are, they would be very happy. But I think a lot of the masculine, they're not sure. Because what I'm getting is like this. Some of this is the masculine. Because the masculine, they're still like not necessarily trusting the feminine 100%. And some of them might be saying like, well, she says she likes me, but how can I trust that she really likes me? How can I trust that this person will really be there for me if I need them? And I think a lot of times the masculine tests the feminine. And maybe some of the ways that they act out towards the feminine is kind of testing that connection to see what the person really feels towards them. So, and some of that might be, you know, are you going to stay? Like, you say you love me, but are you going to stay in that place of love? Or are you going to, you know, go find someone else? Now, that may not even be a conscious thing from the masculine. So the masculine's question is, am I truly being open with this person, or am I creating subconscious barriers to this relationship? So what the masculine wants or needs to know is, what are my subconscious barriers? Getting to know each other, as you reveal your innermost selves to each other, your bond deepens. And deception. Someone is wearing a false self mask in this relationship. Okay, so this is interesting. When I first, again, looked at these cards, what I was feeling was, Divine Masculine, your subconscious barrier is you're not letting yourself truly reveal who you are and what your feelings are. You're hiding yourselves. You're not being open. You're not allowing like a free flow of communication in. But then when I saw this card, deception, it took me right back to what I was just saying. How the masculine can test the feminine and may not trust that the feminine's feelings are as strong as they purport them to be. And so the masculine might be feeling like the feminine is wearing the mask. And so their subconscious barrier is because they feel like they can't trust the situation. But you can trust. We have to remember too that this is in the place of what's positive. So this lack of trust is actually what is being worked on. You know, I think I've given you a pretty clear message here that this energy of hopelessness is trying to be worked out at this time. So what is coming up in the future for twins? The next solstice or equinox will bring an important shift for us. So I do feel like this card is talking about the equinox and what we're working on as we move into the equinox. Now I'm recording this on the 30th of July, and August 1st is Lunasa, and that is the midpoint between the summer solstice and the fall equinox. So we're halfway through that period. But I'm also just looking at the image on this card, the sun rising at Stonehenge, which we know is the alignment of the solstice. But it's also saying activations. Solar activations are happening. And so this card says draw another card to get an idea of what this shift may be. So I did draw another card and I got, I'm not going to give in to fear. I know fear is only an illusion. So I feel like what they're saying with this is this information that I've been channeling through this reading about letting go of the hopelessness and trusting in the situation, surrendering to the divine timing, and all these kinds of related fears, the fears about the separation. At the equinox, you can expect that you will have made some progress in clearing those things. It's not something that we're going to clear totally because, like I said, this is really a journey and it moves through in layers, and that's why it takes the amount of time that it takes. I feel you pulling away and it triggers my fears. You'll leave me for good. So I think, this is probably related to the fears that we're processing now as we move into the equinox. We certainly talked about this, the pulling away. And that's this card. Please contact me. You'll notice on this card too that the woman in this picture is not really there. It's her spiritual form there. So a lot of times this card, if you have this stack and you're trying to find new ways to read these cards, a lot of time this card refers to the telepathic connection, the 5D connection between twins. But yeah, this feeling of the other person is pulling away. And that goes with the masculine working on their shift and things getting possibly worse before they get better. What I mean by things getting worse is just, it may appear on the 3D sense that things are somehow moving backwards. Don't judge this, just surrender. I know it's triggering, but from a higher perspective, it's clearing energy and bringing us closer together. Again, kind of just wraps up what we've said here. The masculine is surrendering. Both twins are being asked not to judge the situations that are coming up. Remember, there's going to be intense situations happening to bring us all to the next level. And we just have to keep the faith that this is all happening because it's clearing the negative energy and it's going to bring us closer together. So the song that I pulled for the future is Everlong by the Foo Fighters. Hello, I've waited here for you everlong. Tonight I throw myself into and out of the red. Out of her head she sang. Breathe out so I can breathe you in, hold you in. And now I know you've always been. Out of your head, out of my head I sang. And I wonder when I sing along with you, if everything could ever feel this real forever. If anything could ever be this good again. The only thing I'll ever ask of you, you've got to promise not to stop when I say when, she sang. So the message that I'm really getting from this card is from the title, Everlong. And what it tells me is there's a big clearing happening around this hopelessness, which I've been talking about, and this need to have patience and to just surrender to divine timing. And just because something isn't happening on your time frame doesn't mean it's not going to happen. It just means that it's not happening as quickly as the ego wants to make it happen. Now, that can be disheartening. I understand that because I know some of you have been on this journey for a long time. It is a journey. We have no control over it. And when we signed up for this journey, we knew that we had no control over it. We knew that it would take as long as it would take. We also knew that the love is so strong that the love would see us through. And we've got to allow that love to be there now, to not lose faith, to not lose trust in your person, in your higher self, in your intuition, in source. How about if we pull a Journey of Love card today, because I haven't pulled one of those in a while. What message is there for the Twin Flame Collective for August? Okay, number 22, loving all that is. You wise, awakening being, you can love all that is. You can love your tears and your sadness, for they are a testament to your open heart. You can love your numbness and fatigue, for they show that you have worked hard and are now in need of rest. You can love your energy and passion, even when you are so far ahead of the pack you have to wait a while for everyone else to catch up. Maybe a day, maybe a decade or so, because you chose not to curb your enthusiasm for anyone. You can love your anger because underneath its fire is a desire for respect. And you can love your peacefulness because within your heart, you really don't care much for fighting sometimes. If there is something that is shaming you, worrying you, challenging you, it's okay to just love it. It will make sense when it needs to. Until then, just love it, even when it hurts, for it's part of your own divine nature awakening. It may just be like a painful cramp happening because it's been curled up for too long. This oracle brings you a sweet message. You are just asked to love. Everything else will take care of itself. A state of being, allowing, receiving, becoming one with all that is. So if you would like a personal reading about what's happening in your twin flame connection, I am doing readings by cards. I also do individual readings. I do astrology readings, both individuals and couples. And I do past life regressions. I also do energy healings. And for people that work with me on a regular basis, I do coaching as well. So you can reach me at twinstrology.com. If you like the cards that I used, this is the Intuit Twin Flame Oracle, co-created by me and Kimberly Aria of Intuit. I also used the Romance Angels Oracle by Doreen Virtue and the Journey of Love by Alana Fairchild. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Happy Lionsgate, and I'll speak to you soon.